Hello, good night, guys. Up to the Time presents another tutorial here. Today we're going to be looking at Loci mechanisms. If you're new to my channel, to the left is my AutoCAD screen and to the right is my question screen. So I'm going to look to the right now and let me just read this question, which was taken from a previous CXC paper. So the question says, figure 3 above shows a crank OA of length 25 millimeter, which rotates around center O. AB is a link 110 millimeter long and is constrained at B, which moves along XY. Draw the locus of point P as AO makes one rotation in the direction of the arrow F. AB equals 110 millimeter and AP equals 45 millimeter. So just looking at this question before we started, this is a Loci mechanism, and we are going to be plotting P as it makes one rotation. But first we need to set up this question. So let us go into AutoCAD and set up this question. So I'm going to just put my screen there like that, and I'm just going to bounce into AutoCAD now, and let's start this process. So the first thing I am going to do is draw my circle. They say the circle O to A is 25 millimeter. So I'm already on my construction there, and let me just start. Put on my ortho, which is my F8, allows me to draw straight lines. I usually just start off like that by drawing a T when I'm doing most of my constructions. This allows me to offset in any of the compass directions, north, south, east, or west from here. So I'm going to place my circle here as a starting point, and the circle is 25 millimeter. That's in radius. So that circle is in. Now I'm going to offset O to offset 30 millimeter up from this horizontal line. It's my 30 millimeter. Okay. And then from my vertical line, I'm going to offset out 160 millimeter. Okay. So this is my distance X to Y. Let me just mark this in now. I'm here. M-text to bring up my text menu. Create a box. Call that X. Repeat the command here. Call over here Y. So far, so good. Now, we need to locate where B is on this line XY. Just trim this line so far. It's my XY line there. That's my XY line. And now I'm going to locate B. So they say B is B is 110 millimeters from the circle. So first, let me just divide my circle into 12 pieces. Div is a command. 12 pieces. And I'm going to use my piece right here to represent A. So this is where my A is. Let me just place the text box here. Yeah, that's where A is. And to get to B, which is say A to B is 110 millimeter, and I want B to be somewhere on this line. I'm going to use my circle to locate where B is, and open up the circle to 110 millimeter, and where it cuts the line, that's where B is. So let's place a point here. I'll call that up as B. Open up my text box by using the shortcut MText. That's where my B is located. Let me connect them. So that's A to B. I can now delete my circle because A to B is in. Yeah, so I think we have the problem set up so far. No, I need to locate P. The distance from A to P is some distance of 45 millimeter. So I'm going to use my same circle to use the same technique, create a circle of 45 millimeter, and wherever it cuts the line AB, that's where our point P is. Okay, so everything is in its correct position, and we are now ready to solve this. First, let me just trim this line here, because it's a bit too long. We don't need it to be so long. Okay, I think that looks good. It's a bit too long, so I'm just going to shorten this. All right, remove this. And there we have it. So I can now maximize this screen, the AutoCAD screen, because we're no longer looking at the question. We have the question set up. And the question is right here. So what I need to do is to continue numbering the divisions on the circle. That's the first thing I'm going to do, and place everything into its respective layer. So the first thing is I'm going to take all the text letters and put them into the respective layers. Grab the X, the Y, the A, the P, and place them into text layers. Now the next thing is I'm going to continue numbering these points on the circle using MText to do that. So this will be point 2. I'm going to grab this 2 and copy it all over the circle and then edit after when I'm finished here. So I'm just copying in these tools so that I can come back and edit and change them to respective numbers. A also gets to be a point on the circle. So let's go. Let's start right here. Here's 12. So everything starts. This is 1. We got our 2. This is 3. And guys, if you want to remember this process, just think of a clock face. Clock face has 12 points. And you are literally locating the 12 points on a clock here when you're actually numbering these different points on the circle. So think of a clock when you're dividing the circle. Clock has 12 points on its face. Your circle should have 12 points on the face as well. Okay, now I'm going to take the rod and place them into outline layer. My circle, I'm also going to place that into outline layer. Good now. So this is how things are. Let me just place these division lines. I'm going to put that into center here. Okay, so how this works? If you remember, we saw the question lets us know that it rotates in a clockwise direction. Right? That's where the arrow F here is. Let me just highlight that over here. You see F, the arrow is going in a clockwise direction. So this gives us an indication as to how we need to go from here. So we are at A currently, or what we can call A1, because this A is going to have several numbers attached to it. A is always where the lever is attached to the circle. So A is going to go through 12 different installments, let's call it. Let's say that. Right now it's at its first installment, which is A1. So consequently, that means if A goes through 12 different installments, B goes through 12 different installments here on this line, which B is going to appear to be moving left to right between X and Y. So A is going to have 12 installments, B is going to have 12 installments, and P is going to have 12 installments. So right now, all of these are at 1. So this is A1. We can call this P1, P1, and we can call over here B1. Okay, let's move now. So in order for us to do that, we need to always remember these distances. Distance from A to B. Let me just bring up the properties. And let's look here. The distance from A to B is 110 millimeter. The distance from A to P is 45 millimeter. So that's all we need to know. So let's start plotting this circle. Now let's move from A1 to A2. So I'm going to come at A2, open up a circle of 110 millimeter. You see where it cuts the point, the line XY, and that's my B2. So I'm going to make a connection. And I'm going to call that B2 here. Copy. Change B2. And while I'm here, I'm going to find my 45 point. My point P, which is at 45. So this is point P here. Copy. So this is my P2. Okay, cool. So I can remove these two circles because we no longer need them. So I'm going to come here at C, open up a circle 110 millimeter. I'm basically going to repeat this process all the way till I get back to point 12 on the clock face. Sometimes things can get messy on this part here. So what I'm going to do is not going to bother to label my B's here. I'm just going to connect the B's to the circle at the respective points. And I'm just going to find the P's. I think that'll be easier. So instead of always drawing a new circle, I can actually move my circle. So I've moved that, and I'm moving both circles too. So that when I find the intersecting point, I can just plug it in. So this is where my B4 is. So I'm just going to draw a line from this point here to 4. And this is where my P4 would be. So I'm just going to make the markation here and put that in. I want to move this big circle, which is 110, the distance of the rod, to 5. You can see where it cuts the line, and move the smaller circle from 4 also to 5. So I'm moving 2 circles at a time. And it cuts the line right here, and then make the connection to 5. I'm looking for where it cuts the right here. Now we move into 6. That's right here, this point. So that is where B6 is. And we can see where, right, P6 will be somewhere along here. I think it's the intersection there. So let's just place a point, call that P6, and then we move along smartly. So I'm going to see if I can move the 2 circles at a time. Yeah. You go over to 7. Yep. Successfully done. Let's connect the point here where B7 would come in. And B7 corresponds with 7. And we can look for the interaction right here. So this is where our P7 is. Again, P is some distance of 45 millimeters from the number. So whichever the number is I'm looking at P7. So the distance from 7 to P7 is always 45 millimeters. So let's move the circles now again. As we go down the line, moving from 7 to 8. So I'm moving both circles so that I can save some time, and rather than recreating the circles every time I go to the number. I think that is moving, I think that is drawing efficiently, and this is something that I always recommend my students to get into the habit of understanding the problem and just finding the easiest solution or the easiest way to solve the problem and to work, rather than always having to redraw the circle at each point you go to. Think of, can I actually move the circle? Copy and paste the circle, rather than rejoin every time I get to a point. It saves time. So this is P9, and here's the point where P9 intersects 9. So what do I do there? I just copy over the point 8 over here, and this goes to P9. So again, grab the circle, the bigger circle, the 110 millimeter circle, the 45 millimeter circle, and we move them over to point 10. Look for the intersection point where the bigger circle touches the line, XY, connect that to 10, and then you will see the intersection of where that line intersects the smaller circle, which represents our point P. Right? So let's do the point there. Just move right here. P10. So we got 2 more points to go. P11 and P12. So P11 is in. We place our final move, which we go to P12. I think I made a slight mistake here. Let me correct it. No. Okay. I went ahead of myself and I connected P11 at P12. Okay, slight mistake. I know how to solve, I know how to rectify this. Right. So P11 is in place. Now, final point, P12. located where it touches the line XY, make the connection, then look for where the circle interacts with the line, and that's here. There's a point. You just change lettering. Oops. See how to copy. Good. So we finally have completed one rotation where A goes around, where this lever goes around the circle in a clockwise direction. So now we have done that, I can actually remove these construction circles because they no longer serve a purpose. Let's make these connections. So let's see what I can do. I'm going to grab all the points that have been made here and place them onto a separate layer. So I think I can grab all of them like this successfully. I think I'll be grabbing more points than I actually need. So let me just do this in 2 bites. This goes here, 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 here. Okay. I think I got all my points now onto my text layer that I'm going to be plotting to. So let me turn off my construction layer, and we can see where I need to plot. And I'm going to go over to my outline layer and start to create my spline. SPL spline, that brings up the spline command, and I can start anywhere. So I'm going to start at, let's start at P1 where A is, and I move from P1 to P2 to P3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I'm back to P1, and then close my spline. Enter, and we finish creating the circle or the actual shape. And here we have it. This is my locus of P. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just hatch the finish problem so that we can see it. All right, and okay. Yeah, I think that looks good. So we have completed the problem. Let me just turn back on my layers. And here we have it. Here is our locus. Let's go back to the question and see what the question asks. So the question asks us to draw the locus of point P as OA makes one rotation in the direction of arrow F. The rod or the length A to B is 110 millimeter, and A to P is 45 millimeter. So we have successfully answered this question, and this is how it looks. I hope you guys were able to follow and understand this demonstration, and if so, you can like and share with others so that they can also learn from this. I thank you. Anyway, I am out. I hope you guys learned something new today, and if so, please subscribe to the channel to continue learning. Thank you.